Thank you, Mother, Father, God. Thank you, archangels and ascended masters, for all the goodness, all the grace, all the peace, and all the love that is here for each of us right now. Thank you to the angelic realm, the elemental realm, our ancestors, spirit guides, animal guides, and guardian angels. We thank you for this opportunity for honor. We thank you for this opportunity for peace. We thank you for this opportunity for recognition. We thank you for this opportunity for hope. We thank you for this opportunity for healing. And we celebrate all these things right now and put them into a blender of love. And with this blender of love, we choose to let the elixir that honors educators to come forward with wonderful clarity. And we'll notice different folks who act as guides, folks who are passed away, Maya Angelou coming forward, Saul Bellow, people who wrote, Albert Einstein. If we could just notice these different educators coming forward and the legacy of the educators, iconic figures, the additions that they gave the world, different physicists, different writers, different articulators, with different topics, history, math, leadership, wisdom, philosophy, the written word, articulation. We could see all these things here right now. If we could just very simply feel the warm glow of appreciation, if we could each, right where we are in this individual spaces, if we could just feel that glow of appreciation, whether we feel that, see that, hear that, or know that. And if we could let that warm glow disregard calendars and clocks, if we could notice that warm glow of appreciation being very present with you right now and going into and encompassing every aspect of life as an educator and the different ways that that shows up in professional settings, personal settings, family settings, spiritual settings. We could just feel that glow sparking a new sense of great grace, great abundance, and great peace. And if we could feel any experience of depletion being lifted off of you, off of us, any sense of heaviness, oppression, exhaustion, having to go through hoops. So if we could just breathe and let that warm glow be a warm glow, to feel it moving through your entire being, moving through your head, moving through your heart, moving through your hands, moving through your torso, your lower body, your hips. And indeed, if we could just feel that glow of perfect appreciation, you being honored, you being recognized. And if we could feel right now all these different figures from throughout history, all the different teachers coming forward from ancient times, from modern times, women, men, if we could just feel the similarity of what it is to educate, what it is to impart, what it is to share. These shared spaces, mostly in physical proximity, in recent times through devices, we could just notice that shared experience throughout time. And we'll just breathe into that. And we'll let a genius of appreciation, the poet and teacher, Maya Angelou, come forward. We get to see her as a guide coming forward to honor, to share. Wonderful. If we could let her articulate her acknowledgement to you. So if we could each breathe in, we'll recognize that she could be with each of us at once. So if we could just breathe in And just let Maya reach out and acknowledge you, perhaps with physical touch, perhaps with her presence. And if we could let her acknowledge for you and to you and about you every moment that led up to teaching, educating, every moment of learning, every moment of sacrifice, every moment of expense. If we could just feel all of that acknowledgement and being felt. And if we could feel from her specifically, but if she's acting like a funnel of appreciation, if we could feel all the different educator guides, all the different loved ones or teachers that we have who are non-physical now, if we could just notice their appreciation for you and to you coming through Maya's touch. And her holding you in this space of warmth, holding you in loving clarity. So if we could just lovingly breathe into all that. Wonderful. And without making anything wrong or bad, if we could notice the energy of resentment coming up to your shoulders, a bit like shoulder pads. If we could just breathe in, we'll notice that in itself moving, that having a different orientation. And we'll just lovingly just breathe into all that and letting this loving, wonderful guide lift that off of you. And if we could notice, this is not flattery, but if we could just lovingly notice what it's like to be appreciated for every moment that supplied education, change, facilitation, presence, seeing and hearing the students. If we could just lovingly just breathe into that and just feel that loving appreciation. And let's very simply notice this loving guide, Maya Angelou, coming forward. And if we could notice her removing that resentment from your shoulders. And if we could notice what it's like for your shoulders, for your body to have a reorientation without that anger, without that tightness, without that stiffness. And if we could celebrate with Maya for you that you have been heard. And just acknowledging that truth that you have been heard, that you have something to share and you shared it. And as we know from our own lives, that it's one little thing, one little insight, one little spark that lasts a lifetime. If we could just notice that even if we don't know about it, that we provided those sparks, those insights, that care, that eye contact, that encouragement, that grade. If we could just very simply just breathe into all that, we'll notice the clarity that comes from this. And in simple words, but with great significance, if we could notice that your work matters enormously. Your presence, your choice, your dedication, your wisdom, your time, your expense, all of that matters enormously. If we could just notice with that recognition, whether people have taught for decades and decades, whether they're brand new to it, and teaching with a whole new style and perhaps a whole new level of stress, if we could just notice the acknowledgement of this era of innovation, and noticing even through the decades, all the innovation that happens in a classroom, in an educational setting. We'll just living lovingly and peacefully notice all those moments are taken in right now. All those moments are noticed and recognized. All the different aspects of consciousness at work in the act of teaching. So if we could just breathe and indeed feel seen, heard, cared for, acknowledged, and honored right now. And if we could allow, very simply, for any disregard, any mistreatment, any diminishing of the role of teacher or educator, which is a role. It's a role not everyone has. If we could very simply notice any misunderstanding in culture or diminishment in cultural significance, if we could notice that you are a teacher, that you have had influence, you have learned, and you have shared. If we could just notice that circulation, and if we could notice with that circulation, it creating new rhythms, new insights. But if we could notice with any way, shape, or form where you might not have felt honored or not been honored, if we could let, very simply, for Maya to touch that part of you and to perhaps heal it instantaneously. For everything that might have been denied you in the past, for that to come to you now, be that appreciation, be that acknowledgement, be that finances. We could just feel all this good coming to you right now as a healing, as hope. And if we could notice, excuse me, very simply with Maya, if we could notice her with her dust broom and the thing you sweep things into, if we could notice her cleaning up other people's messes that you might have adopted, other people's shortcomings, other people's failures to recognize, to honor, all the compromises, if we could just let all that be cleaned up with the dustpan and the broom. And if we could once again just let that be cleaned up from you and for you, across energy fields, across foundations and floors, across your mind and memory. Let's let that cleaning happen. And we'll just take in a breath and come present to ourselves right now and as ourselves right now. And we'll notice great things happening. With wonderful clarity, perfect peace, and outstanding love, we'll just breathe in. Let's very simply feel heartfelt appreciation coming to you from Maya, from the other educator guides. But if we could also perhaps hear throughout the echoes of time, even if it's once or perhaps it's 100 times or 1,000 times, the students that you have had, the students that you have communicated with, engaged with, perhaps once, perhaps more times, very simply voicing what this one teacher once said to me, what this one teacher did, what this professor did, this educator, what was said, what was communicated. We could just notice those moments of compliment that perhaps you didn't hear or know about, and perhaps being surprised by the source. If we could just breathe in, let the energy of all those compliments, all those life-changing influences that you circulated, you created, let all those come to you right now. And perhaps letting those compliments, those acknowledgments fill you up and filling you with great grace, great harmony, and great joy. And letting wonderful recognition happen. And if we could feel there being a bigness in your body, a bigness in your spirit, a bigness in your consciousness, a bigness in your emotional landscape, and letting the entirety of you become bigger, being filled up as opposed to depleted. So we'll just lovingly and peacefully notice all of this. And noticing details of this appreciation, all the books that you have, all the books you've read, the piece of music, the films, the strategy, the wisdom, the advice, the learning, the moments of being surprised pleasantly, the moments of contact and humor. If we could just breathe in and feel all of this helping, all this acknowledging, all of this being taken in. So if we could just breathe in and feel circulation. And if we could feel from all the educator guides said directly to you, good job. Well done. Bravo. If we could just breathe in and take all that in. Good job. Well done. Bravo. And if we could feel those words sparking a renaissance of peace within your soul, within your physical body, within your energy field, within your consciousness, we'll recognize all that goodness that's here right now. Wonderful. And perhaps there's more room, there's open shelves, and we'll notice what would benefit you in terms of the new thing to take in, the new thing to learn, not as an obligation, but as an opportunity, that there's room on the shelves for new things, including recorded appreciation, the energy of appreciation, and great things happening. So we'll just breathe into that. And very simply notice that there's more space. More is available. Wonderful. So we'll just breathe in. And with recognition, with great love, let's very simply notice Maya appreciating you, which might include an embrace and a kiss on the forehead. And if we could just very simply note and feel that you are part of something that is huge, that you have added to the conversation, and that let's feel that the different guides, the different guidance that's been here has added to you and healed you. And with all this goodness and all this peace, we'll lovingly say out loud to Maya and all the different guides, thank you. Wonderful. And to all the different students that you have had, be that a few dozen, a few hundred, a few thousand, or more, we could just say out loud to them, good job. Wonderful. And we'll hear them saying to you, good job. And with wonderful clarity and perfect peace, we thank the presence of Mother, Father, God, and all the archangels and ascended masters. We thank as well the angelic realm, the elemental realm, our ancestors, spirit guides, animal guides, and guardian angels. We thank you for this moment and this opportunity. We thank you for all the healing that is here, the acknowledgement that is here, the peace that is here, the love that is here. And with generous peace and wonderful praise and the satisfaction of acknowledgement and knowing that all is well and that good work has been done, we very simply and lovingly ask for this or something better right now in all directions of time. And so it is.